One psychiatrist I think in New York was explaining how more people are becoming depressed and tempers are much, much shorter because of this weather, and there's a big increase in over-drinking and overeating. That, as we say in the business, is a perfect lead-in for my next guest. He's no stranger to excessive imbibing. You might say he's even made a career out of it.
Ready, camera one, ready to cue Rick.
Give a warm welcome to that wonderful bantering boozer, Mr. Eddie Fast.
And music, lights, and ready to. That's it, and bring him
in. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Great pleasure to be here tonight. I can hardly wait to hear what I'm going to say. Actually, folks, I only drink to be sociable. Let me know if I get there, will you? Tell you, I was trying to go on the wagon. Tried for 3 weeks. Couldn't find a wagon with a bar in it.
It's difficult not to laugh at someone making fun of themselves and their drinking behavior. Humor about drinking often obscures its sad reality. Alcoholism and alcohol misuse are not funny. Together, they've become a tragic, worldwide, fatal epidemic. Today, more than ever before, millions are misusing alcohol. Millions have become addicted to it and are causing the deaths and emotional destruction of themselves and those around them.
And they got a big sign over the bar that says, if you're here drinking to forget, please pay in advance. I love my bartender. You know what a bartender is, don't you? Just a guy, a psychiatrist with an apron. He was in Las Vegas last week. $8,000 in one night. I wasn't gambling, I was drinking. This is Doris, my assistant. Thank you, darling. Get back in the van now, close the windows, I hear it's gonna rain. Doris brings out the animal in men. Mink, sable, ermine. Last week I was at a cocktail party. This drunk walks up to the hostess. He says, excuse me, do lemons have feathers? She said, of course not. She says, my God, I just squeezed your canary in my drink.
Alcoholism is usually described as an increasing loss of control to the drug alcohol. A person becomes an alcoholic when he or she becomes emotionally and physically addicted to the chemical ethyl alcohol. Alcoholism is fatal. Unless it is arrested, an alcoholic will die a premature death.
He's got $10 there. He says, give him $1 change. You'll never know the difference. He's a gorilla. Bartender goes back out, pours a drink for the gorilla, takes the $10, rings it up, comes back, puts down $1 there. Stands there staring at the gorilla. Finally, the bartender gets up enough nerve. He says, pardon me, you know, we don't often get gorillas in here. And the gorilla says, I'm not surprised at $9 a drink.
Most individuals are incapable of judging if or when they lose control of their drinking. Studies are showing that everyone reacts differently to alcohol at each occasion, depending on several biochemical variables.
You know, whiskey improves with age. Older a guy gets, the more he likes it.
It is impossible to determine exactly when a drinker loses control to alcohol. With some, the process may take several years of heavy drinking. With others, only a short period of moderate drinking. It's estimated that 1 out of every 7 people who drink alcoholic beverages becomes addicted. That percentage translates to somewhere between 10 and 15 million alcoholics.
I'm supposed to be at the country club. I don't play golf, I drink. Do you ever notice you go into a saloon? You have 14, 15 drinks. You get loud, get boisterous, get happy. They throw you out in the street, you're a drunk. Go to a country club, drink a fifth of whiskey, fall off the bar stool, you're a sport. That's what I like about it.
When a person becomes an alcoholic, their behavior is usually predictable. With or without alcohol intake, they become extreme in their moods, swinging quickly between exuberance and depression.
Saves my life, this girl.
Okay, tell me when.
Eventually, their lifestyle deteriorates, along with their relationships to others. Where once there existed a choice of whether or not to take a drink, the alcoholic will now always make the same decision, to drink. With the loss of control to alcohol comes the preoccupation of when is or where is the next drink.
I like country clubs. It's the only place, you know, you can say to yourself the true motto of life. Eat, drink, and be merry. You know what happens when you do that? All he gets a fat, grinning drunk. I knew a Scotsman would never turn down a drink if somebody else bought it. He donated his body to science, and he figured he'd keep it in alcohol if they needed it. I want to tell you a classic story about 2 Irishmen who were walking down the street. No, I got that wrong. It's the story of 2 drunks that were walking down the street. Which would have been 2 Irishmen anyway.
Everyone who drinks alcohol has the potential of becoming an alcoholic. Some researchers believe that certain people may be much more susceptible to becoming addicted, that the alcoholic tendencies of one generation are apparent in subsequent generations. Certain races and nationalities are seen to be more susceptible to alcoholism than others.
A year passes by. The one guy comes in, checks his watch, 7 o'clock, sitting at the bar with his old buddy, puts his arm around him, slaps him, and says, you know, I thought you'd forget. I thought you'd forget that we were going to meet here. 1 year to the hour, but you remembered. You came back. The other guy looked at him and said, who left? My dad, one of the best drinkers that ever lived. Perfect health all his life. Never had an ailment, except one thing. Arthritis of the fingers from picking up wet change.
As drinkers become addicted to alcohol, they create a defense system around their drinking habits and antisocial behavior. They rationalize there are perfectly normal reasons for their drinking or actions. Others are blamed for the consequences of the drinking.
Bartender, I want to buy a round of drinks for the house. And you have one too, bartender. Drinks were ordered, passed out. Bartender said it'll be $16.85. The guy says, I haven't got any money. Bartender threw him out in the street, beat him up, threw him out in the street. About an hour later, the same drunk comes back. Staggers into the bar. He says, bartender, I want to buy a round of drinks for the house. But nothing for you. When you drink, you get mean.
The family and friends react to the alcoholic in a very natural and predictable fashion. First, they'll believe they can control the little drinking problem. They'll start accepting the blame for things going wrong. Then they'll feel hurt by the alcoholic's treatment of them. Next, frustration that their attempts to help aren't working. Soon, anger and resentment toward the alcoholic for ruining their lives. And finally, family and friends will either try to punish the alcoholic or go to great lengths to avoid him.
you get the windows?
Oh.
Good. Don't forget to put some money in the meter. Thank you, baby. Stay safe. Boys, you know what I'm drinking here tonight? This is called a card table cocktail. One of these and your legs fold up.
Some spouses will very naturally concede to the alcoholic. To avoid conflict and abuse, they'll join the alcoholic in drinking. Usually, the family tries to help the alcoholic by covering up and cleaning up the messes created. Repairing damage or denying the problem enables the alcoholic to continue drinking without serious consequences. Unless the enabling process is checked, the family will soon suffer the same symptoms as the alcoholic: depression, low self-esteem, and despair.
Of booze for snake bites. And of course, my uncle brought along a couple of snakes. Playing golf.
It is estimated that 4 or 5 family and friends can be emotionally affected by each alcoholic. Children who have grown up in an alcoholic family can carry the emotional scars of the experience throughout their lives.
Never forget my first drink. Must have been 5 or 6 years old. My father left half a glass of beer sitting beside him. He was sitting down listening to radio. So I sneaked over. I grabbed the half a glass of beer, took a big swallow, coughed, got sick. My father slapped me in the head. See? See, he says. He thought I was having fun. We came from a neighborhood. The neighborhood was a very drinking neighborhood. Even the kids drank. We had the only liquor store in the city that used to have a back-to-school sale.
In recent years, teenage drinking has increased dramatically. Contrary to some beliefs, alcohol use among teenagers has not replaced drugs, but has merely joined marijuana, hallucinogens, uppers and downers as a social convention. Alcohol is easily available to teenagers, and peer pressure to participate is great. Many become addicted. It's estimated that 750,000 American teenagers and grade school children are alcoholics. Some parents register relief when they find their children drinking instead of using other drugs, believing it's part of growing up. Millions of those drinking teenagers are tomorrow's adult alcoholics.
You know what we used to do? My father would throw beer parties. And if he wouldn't let us have some of the beer, we should lock the bathroom door and throw away the key. Went to my country club. Went to my old friend, Bo DeBride.
Over half of all traffic accidents involve the use of alcohol. 30,000 men, women, and children are killed each year because of alcohol. 50,000 are injured and disabled because of alcohol.
Other day I was driving home kind of late. About 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, had a couple of toots. Going lickety-split down the highway. Red light comes on. Cop's gonna pull me over. I figure he's gonna get me for drunken driving, so I figured I'm gonna fake him out. I jammed on the brakes, and I jumped in the back seat. Cop comes up, flashes a light in the front seat, nobody there. Looks it back at me, he says, "You been drinking?" I says, "Yes, I have, but I haven't been driving." He says, "Who's been driving?" I says, "I don't know, but we're making great time."
Each night, drivers who are technically intoxicated threaten lives on the highways and streets. Most make their destination. Many do not, nor do many innocent drivers and pedestrians.
Doris, honey. Oh, it's only one thing worse than drinking. Thirst. That's what I'm talking about. Other day, traffic cop stopped this guy. He's doing 95 miles an hour in the school zone. Cop looks at him and he says, "Do you know you were doing 95 in the school zone?" He said, "Yeah, I know." "What are you driving that fast for?" He said, "I want to get home before I kill somebody."
According to the American Hospital Association, 15 to 30% of all adult medical surgical patients in metropolitan hospitals, regardless of diagnosis, suffer from alcoholism. Costs have skyrocketed in part from the millions of dollars spent trying to treat patients for related ailments rather than the real one, which is alcoholism or alcohol misuse. In diagnosis, The average physician often overlooks the symptoms of alcohol.
I know one guy. Makes $250,000 a year. It's a lush. So he figured what he better do is join AA. But he had the thing all wrong. See, he assumed when he joined AA, he could drink under an assumed name. This country is discriminatory against drunks. Doesn't matter what you drink, it's who you are. You see, if you're a rich man, you're an alcoholic. If you're a poor man, you're a drunk. That's the way it works in this country. Outdoors, baby. Bring the light. So don't miss the cup, dear. We don't want to stain the floor.
Nationally, the cost of lost time, accidents, and related consequences of employee alcoholism is estimated at $15 billion a year.
Goes to day school.
Whether man or woman, hourly wage earner or management, 15% of the workforce either has a serious drinking problem or is alcoholic.
Some of your best people, most successful people in the world are drunks. I went to a party. They invited us up from the club, and we went to this party. And this guy had his hands in a cheese dip. So I walked over to him. I could see he was stoned. And I says, Ernie, I says, you got your hands in a cheese dip. That's what the crackers are for. So he walked across the room, put his hand in the crackers.
Informed and progressive companies are beginning to realize that it's far more economical to help employees who have lost control of their drinking than dismiss them. Educational, treatment, and rehabilitation programs costs a tiny fraction of the dollars wasted to alcohol. Yet the number of companies that confront alcohol intelligently is pitifully small.
One guy, he was a lush for 20 years. 20 years he'd been drinking. Nobody knew it. Until one day, he showed up in the office sober. I don't know, he was 80 years old.
Nearly 3 million arrests yearly are related to drinking. The cost to U.S. taxpayers is an estimated $100 million annually. 30 to 40% of all delinquent youths come from homes where alcoholism exists, and no figures are available as to how many thousands of child abuse cases are related to alcohol.
What are the charges against this man? He says, well, Your Honor, he says, he's been selling illegal whiskey. He's been making it at home and he's been selling it. Do you know that judge dismissed the charges against my uncle? For a very good reason. He says, I know this man. I've known him for 30 years. If he had a bottle of whiskey, he wouldn't sell it. It's my family. This one guy appears before a judge, and he goes into the courtroom, and he's standing there, and he says to the judge, wait a minute. Oh, this guy goes in before the judge. Yes, he says, the judge says to him, he says, I've looked at your case, I've looked at the dossier, and I've talked to the attorneys, and I don't think you're a criminal. I'm going to dismiss all the charges against you. But I don't ever want to see you in front of me again. The guy looked at him and says, Your Honor, I can't promise you that. The judge says, why not? He says, Your Honor, I'm your bartender at your favorite club. I'm going out tonight forming a new group called AAAA. It's for drunks who like to drive.
Alcoholism's growing destruction is greater than our present ability and facility to control it. Treatment of an alcoholic is complex and slow. It means dealing with the individual physically, emotionally, and spiritually.
This Christmas, my wife got me a lighter. I loved it. I drank it straight. Most people say to me, hey, you're not really a drinker. I am. I know my capacity. Problem is, I pass out before I get there. They wonder in this country who's responsible for drunks. I'm gonna tell you, it's the government. Government is totally responsible for drunks. Do you know that when you buy a bottle of booze, they put 60% tax on that bottle? It's enough to make you drink. It's all right. It was empty. No damage done. Hey, Doris! Come on here, baby. He's probably out there arguing with a riot-trained meter maid. Doris, it's a full-time job, honey. I don't work the whole act alone. So this drunk is, what's wrong? You pay attention, huh? Sure how to work a cue card, kid. All you do is turn it over, you know, like this. It's not Chinese. I don't know what makes you tick. I hope the hell it's a time bomb. Supposed to read upside down. Can't read upside down. It's getting warm in here. Doris! Come on, honey. Get out of the van. We're gonna get a bartender in here and put a head on this kid, huh? Cards upside down. Kid's going to night school. Studying to be an idiot. I've seen some idiots in my time, but you're making a career of it, kid. Got a kind of face I'd like to shake hands with. Come on, Doris. It's a full-time job, baby. Get out here. If you want a friend, kid, buy a dog. Wonder how you look when I'm sober.
Get me Tom on the phone.
This drunk goes, up to a parking meter. And he, puts coin in. And he says, my God, I weigh an hour. What's the matter, kid? Did you think that was funny? Oh, you see, hold the card up a little higher. Maybe I can read it right. As soon as the kid gets the card straight, I'll do the joke again for you. Come on, Doris! Get on national television, baby. Show 'em your legs. Take that kid over to my house to the swimming pool. Give him drowning lessons. Give him a price.
Come on, we have Tom. Tom?
I'll come to the street.
Yeah.
Hey, bring the light when you come. Will you, Doris? I got one. Never mind. Just bring the...
Look, he's completely drunk.
So these two drunks are to run a roller coaster. On a roller coaster, and they've been drinking on the roller coaster. And I think they're getting sick or something on the roller coaster. Two Irishmen, I think. And they didn't have enough money. It doesn't matter. Come on, Doris. Let's go, Doris. Come on, baby. Get out of the van.
Alcoholism is everyone's problem because it touches everyone's life. Every day, in some way, we are each affected by the menace of alcohol misuse. Whether it's the drinking habits of someone close to you, perhaps even your own, or the worker next to you, or whether it's the condition of the person you're in a car with, in some way, you are touched by the problem. And it's a problem that isn't going away. In fact, it's getting worse. Alcohol, unfortunately, is part of our culture, but it must not be portrayed as something different than it really is, a drug. It isn't glamorous. It certainly isn't humorous. Its effects are devastating and tragic. The potential danger of alcohol and what it can do to individuals and their families must be impressed upon everyone who decides to take a drink. And the earlier that impression is made, the better. Individuals who lose control of their drinking habits and become addicted must be understood and helped. Their family and friends must be educated and helped too. Remember, Millions of families enjoy life without any need of alcohol. The Salvation Army, guided by the love of Christ, is dedicated to helping those individuals and their families who suffer from alcoholism and alcohol misuse. We believe the danger is so great that the only real solution is to abstain from using alcohol. Isn't it time for you to re-examine your attitudes about drinking alcohol? Isn't it time for you to stop laughing?